one of the original app stores, and right now we're focusing on mobile application distribution on the Android. So we're one of the biggest distribution and monetization solutions on the planet. Recently launched our new virtual currency Getjar Gold, and now passed over 200 million users worldwide globally. And yeah, that's growing really fast. Well, I think that the biggest concern is, in general, how do you run a content strategy if you're a carrier? Because apparently the last couple of years, carriers have tried a lot of different things, from distribution to monetization to running own app stores, iTunes, the flavors of that, and so on and so on. I think right now it's safe to say that, all those kind of verticals are really now taken by other players and carriers. And well, apparently it is a big concern for a carrier, because how do you avoid becoming a dumb pipe? How do you really build a business in content if you are a carrier? And that is a challenge. So I think that's a big challenge for any carrier today. Well, I just had a keynote on that subject, and I think that the way forward for carriers is start building smart networks as opposed to dumb pipes. Smart networks meaning that in addition to standard, data services, smart networks could enable developers if accessing billing APIs, location APIs, identity APIs, and so on, because apparently developers are looking for new solutions for ways to make their applications better, closer to the consumer, and not everything can be implemented on the device side, on the operating platform level. A lot of the solutions, like again location and billing, could be much better done on the carrier side. So that is, I think, a big challenge how you solve that. But I think that's also together the biggest possible opportunity for carriers, because unless you do that, we've seen that voice and data and text revenues are simply disappearing. It would be safe to assume that in the next couple of years, data will be the only revenue for carriers, because voice will be left to Skypes and Microsofts and Google Talks and the likes, and text is already taken by WhatsApps and the likes. So how do you really build a business on top of that is the question. And I think, again, enabling networks with smart capabilities, giving developers access to those capabilities is the way forward. Maybe 2 points. One is really developers are missing a uniform approach from carriers. So some carrier launches one API and makes a big splash, and other carriers launches a different API and makes a big splash in a small country. Reality is, for a developer, distribution is so global and so fragmented that unless all of the carriers provide exactly the same service, there is no point in supporting, say even AT&Ts and Vodafones if it's like 3% of my consumer traffic. It's not really relevant to me. It doesn't really solve my problems. So I think the step one is actually for carriers to work out on a general uniform approach, maybe on the level of GSMA and similar, standards body. And the second level is really provide meaningful APIs to developers. Meaningful, right now, in most demand apparently billing. Billing on Android is, I would say, the biggest industry challenge right now, because it's just technically very impossible to take money from consumers who are willing to pay, but are not capable of paying in different parts of the world and different demographic segments. So working out standards, providing standard APIs in a uniform way, I think that would be very, very helpful. Again, I've seen the whole mobile application industry to grow from essentially zero to what it is now. It's a huge business. It's already a $20 billion business this year and a $50 billion business in the next couple of years. It's all on the back of data availability. So smartphones and fast data made the industry. And I think that a huge leap will be essentially with the faster networks, because it enables you a whole new set of services, like video on demand and streaming audio, which is reliable, and so on and so on. So I think we're yet to see what exactly mobile application developers do on top of that, but it's going to be very exciting. Well, I've been surprised in a good way that carriers now seem to be open to, I would say, different discussions and changes of your business models and are looking into new opportunities. Again, coming from the opposite side of the barricades, again, being application developer myself and then being a mobile application distributor for a long way, I've seen carriers behaving, let's say, differently in last 5 years. Essentially, 5 to 10 years ago, there was like this dominance by carriers. So they would say inflexible. That's the diplomatic word I would use. Right now, they seems to be really open to new approaches, and that's really good. It's definitely great visiting. It's a lot of new opinions and a lot of new different industries and technologies being discovered and presented on this show. So I'm really surprised, and definitely anybody not visiting here is missing a lot.